Hey, hey, hey. Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to a new day. It's December 29th already. I can't believe it. Um, this is Linda, your back in the groove again coach. I'm here just for a very quick live. I want to talk about New Year. I want to talk about uh, what type of goals you could be setting in the new year. And I want to talk a little bit about this 2020 year. You know, the year is almost over, and I think we all have to admit it. It's been a very different year. For some of us, it's been a year of incubation, a year of solitude, right? And a year of really taking a look at who we are as individuals, who we are as a community. I know for myself, I've done a lot of inner work in the last year, and I have to admit, I do a lot of inner work anyways. I'm an introvert, and I tend to look within and try to understand things. But this year in particular, I've done a lot more than usual, especially because I had to. And I think that's probably been the difference. We've all had to stay indoors more, or we've all had to practice social distancing. And I think the mere act of experiencing this solitude has stirred up a lot of different feelings. For example, myself, I've noticed that I really miss my family more. I really miss that face to face connection more than the last few years. I didn't miss it as much. Now, I saw my kids as often, but I didn't long for that connection as much as I am now. The other thing, too, is that I've noticed is just casual chit chat, going to a coffee shop or restaurant, going to work, for example, going to work and getting into that casual chit chat, talking about kids and families, talking about movies, that kind of chit chat, small talk. I've missed that. And that's one of the things that I've noticed that now I'm working from home, so that's one thing too. But we are all probably experiencing that now. If we're working from home, we probably notice that we don't we don't engage in that small talk as much anymore, unless, of course, we make it a point to invite somebody for a walk. And that's about the only time that I get into casual chit chats, and not so much gossiping. It's not about gossiping, but it's more about, how's family, how's the kids, what'd you do last night? That kind of conversation. I used to do that a lot more before because I was with a lot more people before. So I noticed that I don't do that as often. And more than likely because of the COVID, because of this incubation period that we're all having to go through. So as I'm now thinking of my new year, you know, it's almost the end of 2020. I'm wondering, first of all, what you learned about yourself in the last year. I learned that I do miss my family. I know also that I need to have that more deeper type of conversations with people. I know I need to have that. And I really missed it because it was all or mostly superficial type of conversations that I've had. So as I'm moving towards the new year, I'm I'm thinking, what do I want in 2021? What do I really want? Now, I'm going to show you a model. I'm going to share my screen with you in just 1 second. Let me share my screen. And this particular model that I'm going to share with you is called the Wheel of Life. Now, I'm just going to show you, I'm getting this from a website called Minimalist, but all coaches will use the wheel of life, or here they call it the wheel of life. We'll all use that. And one of the reasons we use the wheel of life is because as life coaches, we look at our whole life, right? As a career coach, I look mostly at your career option. So if I go to the wheel of life, you'll see that the career is one part of your life. But of course, you know, we look at our life on a holistic perspective. We look at all aspects of our lives, all domains of our lives. And these are just examples of some of the domains: social and family and intellectual and physical, spiritual, financial. So as you're thinking of your new year, as you're thinking of your new year, I'm going to encourage you to consider all aspects of your life. When you're going to evaluate, what do I want to do next year? You want to think about not just your career, not just your social life, not just your finances, but all aspects of your life. I'm also going to encourage you to consider to rate these areas of your life. Now, as a coach, when I first meet with a client, this is one of the tools that I use. I will ask my client to take a look at this wheel and to rate themselves on a scale of 0 to 10. And 10 is, of course, I love my career, I'm so happy. And 0 would be, I don't have a job right now, or I don't feel a sense of satisfaction, for example. So I would invite my clients, and I'm inviting you as well to do that right now, to consider these areas of your life and to rate these areas of your life. Now, at some point, you're going to think, well, I'm not sure which one to start with. So I would ask you, when you look at this wheel and you've rated yourself, and you'll see too with the wheel that there are different lines of the wheel. So that would be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way to 10. And when the wheel is completed, I don't know if there's an example of a completed wheel here. I'm just checking. No, in here there isn't a completed wheel. But when the wheel is completed, you might notice that there are some areas that are a bit bumpy. There are some areas that you may want to look at to improve. Now, a 10 is an area, means you're really, really satisfied, and perhaps you don't need to improve it, or you choose not to improve it. You could improve it. So you might want to ask yourself, which of these areas do I want to spend more time putting intentions on? Which of these areas are more important to me? Now, they could be all important to you, but I really want you to be thinking too of specific areas that maybe during the last year that you've noticed that areas were suffering, or areas that weren't as meaningful to you in the last year, that you want to bring more meaning in the year 2021. The other thing that I'm going to add as well is, which ones of these are so crucial to you that making a change in that particular area would change other areas as well. So let me see if I can give you an example. If I decided to start exercising more, and I was looking at the physical aspect of my life, and I wanted to start exercising more, and I want to start being more physically active. And physically active can simply mean walking more. Maybe I want to walk 2 or 3 times a week, and I want to start going to the gym more, or I want to start building a bit more muscles. Now, nothing complicated, but if I'm physical and I choose to walk with friends, well, that also might improve my social relationships. It could as well improve my spiritual relationships, my spiritual connecting with other people. So by choosing one particular area to focus on, it could drizzle out and have ripple effects on other areas of your life. So the challenge is for you to think about which area of your life is important, but also could could impact other areas of your life as well. And the other final thing that I want to talk about is, are you ready to make changes in your life? Now, I've talked about this before in other lives, so I'm going to just cover it briefly here. When it comes to stages of changes, there are several stages, and the first one is pre-contemplative. Pre-contemplative means I'm not really even thinking about making a change in this area. It's not even in my radar. Contemplative would mean I'm starting to think about making a change, and we'll use exercise as an example. I'm starting to think about it. I'm weighing the pros and cons. I'm deciding whether or not I should actually do something about it. That's pre-contemplative. And then the third one is action. I'm actually now, I've decided to get more physical, to get more physically active, and I've decided to put more actions to it. I am going to the gym. I'm actually walking those 3 times a week. So the stages of changes has several stages. So far I've mentioned the pre-contemplative, and I'm also trying to see if I could find an example of the model here. So I'm looking at, there it is. Okay, so I found an example and I want to share that with you. Just a moment here. I'm just going to share my screen with you. So I'm going to stop sharing the other screen and I'm going to share the screen of the stages of changes. So if you give me 1 second, and that way you have an idea of what I'm talking about there. Yeah, I think this one here, this is the model here that I want to show you here. Now, I hope you could see that. I've already talked about pre-contemplation and contemplation. Now, this one's a little bit different than the one that I'm used to. Here's yeah, let's use that. Let's use this as an example. So you're determined and then you get into action. And once you're into action, oftentimes what can happen is that we can easily slip back into our old habits. Oh, thank you, Peggy. Hello, I'm going to share this with you, Peggy. Hi there. You live in Olivehurst. Is this California? Thank you. Thank you for adding that information. I appreciate that. So once you get into action, then the idea is to maintain it, because it's so easy to fall back on our old habits. So we want to make sure we add somewhat in the addictions world. We call it the relapse prevention. We want to be able to maintain and prevent falling back on our old habits. So that gives you a general idea of what the stages of changes model is. The reason I was sharing that model with you is because if you're thinking of a goal in the new year, whose goal is it, right? Whose intention is it? Is it your family? Your family wants you to be more active, for example. Your family says you've got to lose weight and you've got to start walking. Is that what's going on? Is it your family's goal for you? Or is it something you really, really want to do and that you intend on doing? Because that's the difference, right? If you have no intentions, going to the gym bores you to death, you don't really want to start walking, for example, then you are in that pre-contemplative phase, and no matter if your husband or wife gets you a gym membership, won't matter because you're not going to go anyways. So as you evaluate your goals, those different areas of the life that I was showing you a few minutes ago, and if you're just joining now, I'm going to encourage you to watch it from the beginning, because I did talk about the wheel of life, and I also talked about the stages of changes. So if your husband gets you a membership and you're thinking, well, I'm not going to use it, or you go once or twice, and then next thing you know, you don't go back again, then it's really not your intention to change, not your intention to make any changes in that particular area of your life. So as you're evaluating the areas of your life, and I'm just going to share that again with you. Just give me 1 second. I'm going to share where is it? Yeah, the Wheel of Life as a self-improvement tool. So as you're evaluating those areas of your life, yes, I've asked you to rate it from 0 to 10, but you also want to, as you're deciding how important are these areas, are you willing to move that score that you gave you? For example, let's say you rated yourself as 0 on physical. Are you willing to do something to move it up to a 1 or to a 2? And if you are willing to do something, then what are you willing to start with? What are you willing to start with? Those are the kind of questions you want to ask yourself. And as a coach, of course, those are the kind of questions that I ask my clients. If you're not, if it's not even in your radar, then I'm going to suggest that you choose another area that you're interested in for the time being. For the time being. Now, if your doctor tells you you got to lose weight, then perhaps your level of motivation will change, probably change. And then you're going to go from pre contemplative to contemplative and quite possibly into action. So sometimes, we change stages because it's imposed on us. So that's what I want to talk to you about today is it is time to start thinking about next year, 2021. Finally, 2020 is nearly over, right? It's nearly over. And um, just a little bit about that. 2020 for some of us, like I mentioned earlier, might have been a period of incubation, might have been a period of solitude, but it might have also been a period of great learning and personal growth, because you might have had to do things that you've never done before. You might have had to really stretch out of your comfort zone in some cases. I know I have some clients that have never been on a Zoom call before, and for no other reason but feeling a sense of connection, they've had to learn to get on a Zoom call, and they're still learning. So, if your intention is, for example, to connect with more people, then perhaps you need to learn a little bit more about the technology, right? So you're not going to go from 0 to 10 connecting to people when you have no idea, about this new technology. So it starts with that willingness, that openness to connect. And then, of course, it starts with, okay, what do I need to do now to inch my way towards that feeling, that connection? It might mean, well, I got to get a laptop, things like that, right? If you don't already have a laptop. So you as you're thinking of the new year 2021, you also want to be um, gentle to yourself, and because we're still in the pandemic, things aren't going to change just that quickly. So you want to be gentle with yourself. One of the things that I'm going to encourage you to do, if you do enjoy doing some reflection, I'm going to share a link with you right now. Let me share that with you. This is to sign up for my Your Life Design workbook. Now, this is a 30 page, it's free, it's 30-page workbook that will help you reflect. First, it's going to start with making way for the new. It's going to help you think about things you need to get rid of or things that you need to declutter. And once you've gone through those several pages of that decluttering reflection, then it's going to be looking at the goals for the next 6 months and setting yourself up for success. So it's a great a great workbook that is yours just by signing up for it. And also next week, just for your information, I am going to be doing three Zoom calls, all to help you with your reflection. Now, there's going to be one on, I have to look at my calendar here, one on the 6th, and this is all in Eastern Standard Time, one on the 6th at 1 o'clock. It's a mini retreat. One on the 7th at 7 o'clock during the evening. Et puis une en français, le 8 à midi. On va faire une petite mini retraite en français à midi. Donc, so I'll continue in English now. So if you are interested in the mini retreats, I have them on my Back in the Groove page. So you can sign up for the, like the Back in the Groove page. I've created some events there as well. So I see Janet, thank you for, you said thank you. No problem. How was I helpful to you today? Janet, how was I helpful to you today? And of course, I do encourage you, Janet, and whoever else is watching to view it from the beginning again, because you might have missed a few bits of information as I talked about the wheel of life, and as I talked about that stages of changes model, and as I encourage you to be realistic too, right? If it's not your goal or your intention, if it's your families or your friends, oh, great. Good, good, good. I'm glad that you now I do encourage you, Janet, to if you do love reflections, to sign up for that book. Now I'm just going to share that page with you so you see what it looks like. Just give me 1 second here. Just give me 1 second and I'll give you an idea of what that looks like. Right. So here's my landing page. So as you go to this page, your Life Design Workbook, and enter your email and first name, you'll be automatically sent to the website where you'll be able to download the Life Design Workbook. And there's a couple of videos there that also explain what you can do. And you'll also be receiving a few messages from me to invite you to these retreats that I was talking about. The one on the 6th, the one on the 7th, and if you speak French, you can also attend the one on the 8th as well. Oh, well, I'm glad. Well, thank you. Oh, thanks. Thank you so much. I've watched you once before, but couldn't find you again. Okay, great. I think, and I don't know if maybe, I'm just thinking, I don't do lives usually directly from Facebook. Right now, I'm doing a live from StreamYard. Maybe that's why. And I know from from Facebook, you can actually be notified when I do a live. So maybe that's why, and I'm really glad. Yay! And you know what? I don't always post my lives. I kind of I'm one of those, I don't want to say impulsive. I'm not impulsive, but I'm intuitive. And when I'm feeling it, you know what I mean? Like when I'm feeling it, I'm going, yeah, I think it's time to do a live. So I don't always post when I do a live, but you can also subscribe to my YouTube channel as well. Sometimes I'll just put videos on there too. Lately, I've been doing lives as well. Yeah, well, thank you. Yes, I'm just going to put that out. Yes, of course. Like sometimes I'm not feeling it. You know what I mean? And I'm just being truthful with you. Now, I'll just give you a couple of examples because this is really strange, but sometimes I'm not feeling it. And when I'm not feeling it, I won't be able to be as helpful. Let's put it that way. But it's happened too in the past where I didn't feel it at the beginning when I was on the live, and then I got some great feedback or I got some interaction, and I'm thinking, all right, this is good. I'm actually helping somebody. And then I start feeling it. It's so weird how it goes. I think it's the same thing with every our feeling that we're helpful helping other people, whatever that might mean, then it feels like, okay, I'm doing the right thing. I'm doing the right thing. So sometimes it's so weird. Sometimes I'm not feeling it, and yeah, it's so weird, but it's so true, and I'll continue talking about that in a second here. I did a webinar, a whole day webinar, a couple of months ago, and that was the first time that I did a whole day webinar. Usually I do a webinar for 1 hour, maybe an hour and a half. Like the retreat, mini retreats is an hour and a half max, and it's on Zoom. And but when I did that whole day, I did not see anybody. Nobody had their microphones on. No, nobody had their cameras on, and it was the weirdest thing. I mean, I've facilitated enough work to get a sense of where people were at. It was really challenging, man, because I couldn't see any faces. At least with Zoom, you can you can get a charge with that feedback. You can see people's nonverbals, and I can get people to chat in the box, so just like what you're doing now, Janet. I appreciate that. But when people don't have their cameras on, as a facilitator, as a coach, I have to really not about them at the time. I have to figure out how to manage that within me, right? And this is where emotional intelligence kicks in as well. I could say, oh yeah, well, thank you. Um, Thanks. And people watch, however, not near enough comments. I know. And I think this is one of those things that I've done it too. I have done it too. I've gone on lives, and sometimes I don't know what to say. So I don't say anything. But I've learned now, mostly through doing the lives myself, that because people don't know what to say, I ask questions now. So, like, where are you from? And, are you using a life wheel now? I know I didn't ask you that, Janet, at all. So I try to interact with people as well. I know, and I don't know why. I think it's, okay, I'll give you my idea. I think it's because, well, first, they don't know us, we don't know them, and it's just a different way of interacting. We're not used to this. Okay, yes, I think you mentioned that before, right? I'm just looking at the previous notes here. No, you said, okay, you live in Olin. Is that in California? Olivehurst, CA, California? But you're from, is that Pasadena? I'm from Canada, so I don't know. I don't know all the abbreviations in the United States, if it is United States. I live in Canada. I live near Ottawa in a really small community where a lot of people speak French as well as English, of course, too. So, well, thank you, Janet, for watching me. I really appreciate that. I'm going to close this live now. I do encourage you to review it right from the beginning, because I did talk more about the Wheel of Life, and I talked more about the USA, Pennsylvania. Okay, good. That is what I thought. No, I said Pasadena. Right. There you go. It tells you how little, I should say, how little I know about the abbreviations in United States. So thank you for watching, and I hope that you have a wonderful new year. Whatever you're doing, whatever you decide to do, uh, I hope that you do it with other people, ideally. I hope you do it with other people, your family. But if you are by yourself, uh, I'll be by myself. No problem. Thank you. If anybody's watching this and you're by yourself, know that you might be alone, but you're really not by yourself. And you can interpret that any way you want. You can interpret that any way you want. You might be alone in your house, but there are so many other people that will also be alone in their homes as well. So knowing that there are other people in your situation brings a little bit of peace of mind as well. So have a fantastic day, Janet. Thank you so much. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye bye now.